The scent of roses and jasmine filled the small-town chapel, floating softly on the warm afternoon air. Sunlight poured through the stained glass windows, casting gentle, colored shadows across the white linen-draped pews. A string quartet played quietly in the corner, their notes weaving a tapestry of elegance and anticipation. Emma Brooks stood at the back of the chapel, framed by the grand wooden doors, her heart thudding like a drum inside her chest. She looked radiant in her ivory gown, classic, simple, with delicate lace at the sleeves, her mother's veil pinned neatly in her blonde hair. But behind the carefully done makeup, the graceful composure, was a storm of emotions. Her eyes scanned the room from where she stood, and one detail pierced deeper than the rest, the front row seat marked with a single white rose and a handwritten name card, Captain Daniel Brooks. Her father. It was meant to be the seat he'd fill with pride, joy, and tears. Instead, it sat quietly, empty. Like a quiet ache no one could ignore. He was supposed to walk her down the aisle. She had pictured it all her life, his strong arm steadying her, his quiet words of reassurance. She had always imagined his smile as he handed her off to the man who would take her place at her side. He had promised that he would be there. But 2 weeks ago, everything changed. An unexpected deployment order. He called her late that night. She still remembered how tired his voice sounded, how it cracked as he said, "They're sending us early." "No, Dad, my wedding. I fought it. I tried. You know I did. But, duty called." Silence hung heavy between them. Then he added, "I'll be there in every way I can be, sweetheart. And no matter what, you walk with your head high. I've never been prouder of you." Now, here she was. Standing at the edge of a moment that was meant to be perfect, but wasn't. Her mother touched her hand gently. "Are you ready?" Emma nodded, blinking back tears. She forced herself to smile as the doors opened wide and guests rose to their feet. The music shifted, cueing her entrance. The world expected her to walk now. To glide down the aisle. To radiate joy. But her eyes lingered once more on that empty chair. On what wasn't there. Her throat tightened. "For you, Dad," she whispered. And with that, she took her first step. The chapel was filled with warm smiles and glistening eyes. But no one smiled more than Emma's fiancé, waiting at the altar with open arms. His expression told her, "You are not alone." Still, behind the beauty of the moment, a quiet pain echoed. A love thousands of miles away. A father torn between duty and devotion. And an empty chair that said it all. Thousands of miles away from the polished wooden pews and soft candlelight of the chapel, the sun beat down hard on the dust-colored tents of a U.S. military base in the Middle East. The air shimmered with heat. Sand drifted in the wind like whispers of forgotten stories. Inside a makeshift barracks lined with cots and gear, Captain Daniel Brooks sat on the edge of his bunk, hunched forward, shoulders heavy. He wasn't in uniform, just a faded green t-shirt and dog tags that clinked quietly as he moved. In his calloused hands was a letter, creased, tear-stained, folded 100 times. His daughter's handwriting curved across the paper with youthful grace, even after all these years. "Dear Dad. If you're reading this, it means you couldn't make it. And that's okay. Because I know why. I've always known why." Daniel swallowed hard. His thumb brushed the edge of the photo taped to the inside of his footlocker. Emma at age 5, sitting on his shoulders in pigtails, laughing. The 4th of July parade. The day she told him he was her hero. He had never missed anything important, not her first recital, not graduation, not even the time she broke her wrist skateboarding. He'd found a way. But this time, he couldn't bend the rules. Orders were orders. He closed his eyes. "Forgive me, Em." Outside, boots scuffed against the gravel as his squad passed by. Staff Sergeant Morales peeked inside. "Sir?" Daniel looked up, wiping his eyes quickly. "Yeah? Hey, listen, me and the guys were talking. Morales stepped in, followed by 3 more soldiers. "We saw your face when that wedding invite came. We know how much she means to you." Daniel tried to manage a smile. "She's everything." "Exactly." Morales hesitated, then said, "So we've been working on something." "Working on what?" Another soldier chimed in, grinning. "A plan. A long shot. But maybe, just maybe, we can get you back stateside. Even if it's just for a day." Daniel stared at them. "You're kidding." Morales shook his head. "Nope. Base commander's been moved by your story. We've got favors to call in. We've got a pilot willing to fly on his own fuel. And we're all ready to cover your duties for a 72-hour window. You won't even miss a patrol." Daniel's throat tightened. These men, his brothers in arms, weren't just trying to help. They were sacrificing for him. "You'd really do that?" he whispered. One of them smiled. "Sir, family's not just blood. You've been there for us. It's our turn now." For a moment, the base faded away. All Daniel could see was Emma in her white dress, waiting, hoping, forgiving. Maybe, just maybe, he could still walk through those chapel doors. The chapel was quiet now, save for the soft rustle of dresses and the gentle sniffles of moved guests. Emma and James had just lit the unity candle together, 2 flames merging into one. The symbolism was beautiful, but her heart still felt 1 flame short. She tried to stay focused, her hand wrapped tightly around James's. His warm eyes steadied her. He knew what today meant, and what it almost didn't. Behind them, the minister's voice rose warmly as he began the vows. The hush of the moment deepened. And then, a sound no one expected. The heavy oak chapel doors creaked open. Heads turned. Whispers rippled through the crowd like wind through tall grass. Some guests even stood, unsure whether it was a mistake or a latecomer. Emma turned too. At first, she couldn't process what she was seeing. Her breath caught. Time slowed. A line of uniformed soldiers stood at the entrance, in perfect formation. Clean, crisp dress blues. Rows of medals. Boots shined to mirror finish. At their center, walking with steady purpose, eyes locked on his daughter, was Captain Daniel Brooks. Her father. Emma's bouquet dropped to the floor. Gasps filled the chapel. The string quartet faltered, their bows freezing in midair. Even the minister paused, blinking in disbelief. Daniel kept walking, step by step, toward the altar. His face said everything. Exhaustion. Emotion. Determination. Love. Emma's lips trembled. "Dad," she whispered, like saying it might break the spell. He smiled, his own eyes glassy. "I told you I'd be here." Emma burst into tears. The groom stepped back gently, giving room for the moment that mattered more than vows or rings. Daniel stopped just in front of her, trembling slightly as he reached for her hand. "You waited for me." "I never stopped hoping." For a second, neither of them spoke. The world spun around them, but they stood still, father and daughter, reunited at the edge of a moment they thought they had lost. Then, Daniel turned slightly to gesture behind him. "We all came," he said. Emma looked past him, and the truth sank in. It wasn't just him, it was his entire unit. Soldiers who had covered shifts, pulled strings, called in favors. Men and women who had sacrificed sleep, safety, and schedules just to bring a father home. The chapel erupted into tears. Even the minister stepped aside, overcome by the moment. The bride's mother clutched her chest, sobbing. Cameras clicked. Guests held each other. Daniel finally asked, "May I walk you down the aisle?" Emma nodded, tears streaming. "There's no one else I'd want." He offered his arm. She took it. And together, for the second time that day, but the only one that mattered, they walked down the aisle. This time, the empty chair wasn't empty. The chapel stood in complete stillness. Every eye was fixed on Emma and Captain Daniel Brooks as they reached the altar together, step by step, father and daughter, arm in arm. The unity candle glowed behind them, flickering like the emotion in the room. Daniel turned to his daughter and gently brushed a tear from her cheek. "You look just like your mother did on our wedding day," he whispered. Emma let out a small, teary laugh. "I missed you so much." "I know," he said, voice trembling. "I did too." Then he looked up and scanned the room, at the guests who were strangers to him, and at the men and women standing behind them in uniform, his unit, his family in another form. Every one of them had sacrificed something to make this moment happen. He faced James, the groom, and extended a hand. "Take care of her. You already have my respect. Now you have my blessing." James shook it firmly. "I promise you, sir." And then, something entirely unexpected happened. One by one, every soldier in uniform stepped forward, forming a half-circle around the altar. Their boots clicked in practiced unison. Faces solemn, proud. The chapel fell into a reverent silence. With no command spoken, each of them removed their caps, pressed them to their chests, and saluted, not to a flag, not to a commander, but to Emma. A bride. A daughter. The symbol of why they served. Emma gasped softly, her hand to her heart. She looked at each of them, men and women of all backgrounds, ranks, and stories, offering her the honor of a lifetime. Her tears came freely now, but not from sadness. From something else. Gratitude. Grace. Love. One soldier stepped forward, Staff Sergeant Morales. He cleared his throat. "We wanted you to know," he said, "that this man right here, your father, he didn't just fight to protect his country. He fought for moments like this. For families like yours. For daughters and dreams. He has always led us with strength and heart." Daniel looked away, overcome. Morales turned to Emma. "And we weren't about to let that chair stay empty today. So we filled it, with all of us." Applause broke out, slow at first, then thunderous. Guests rose to their feet. The string quartet picked up a soft, swelling melody. And the entire chapel became a chorus of joy. Emma hugged her father tightly. "You gave me the perfect day." Daniel whispered, "You gave me a reason to fight for it." Narrator's voiceover, closing line. When duty pulls hearts apart, love finds a way to bring them back together. Sometimes, it takes a village. Sometimes, it takes a unit. But always, it takes heart.